Quick, name an energy drink. Okay, now name a smartphone. Okay, think of a truck. If you're like me, you probably thought of Red Bull, iPhones, and build, Ford trucks, F-150 or something like that. Now, what does that tell you about our perceptions? And what we're going to talk about today is how our perceptions are influenced by marketing. And the book, The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing by Al Ries and Jack Trout, subtitles Violate Them at Your Own Risk, talks about the ways that marketing changes the perceptions that we have of truth and of reality. Now, I wholeheartedly disagree with some of the conclusions that Ries and Trout make in here. They say that perception is our reality, and that objective truth does not exist, and that marketing actually fundamentally changes the truth that you know in your mind. I happen to disagree with this because I believe in objective truth, but for the purposes of our discussion, I think we can at least agree that your perceptions are changed by marketing. So let's talk a little bit more about those three things I mentioned. Remember, a number of years ago, Apple was the first one with a smartphone on the market. Now, I'm filming this on an iPhone 6s, and you can go ahead and get a Samsung, you can get an Android, a Windows phone. There's so many different kinds now, but so many people think iPhone when they think smartphone because it was the first to market. And that's what they call the law of leadership. And they also point out that the first to market is also the leader in so many categories because it maintains its identity through time and change. The same goes for the Red Bull energy drink. Red Bull has a huge percentage of market share, not because it tastes the best or because it's good for you, but because people recognize it as an energy drink. And the Red Bull marketing team has done so many other things that go right along with it. But our perception of something is changed by the marketing that's produced by that organization. So this book jumps into 22 laws, as they call it, of marketing. I happen to see this book. It was published in, I think, 1993. So I was reading it, and it says things like Microsoft is expanding its products too quickly, and it's probably going to fail. So you have to take their laws with a grain of salt, and things like Acura versus Lexus versus Infinity. They make predictions based on these things. Burger King versus McDonald's and all that. So this book is definitely geared towards the big brands. It even mentions Donald Trump, who back in the early 90s was at $1.7 billion in debt. And they said, marketing is not for amateurs like Donald Trump. He certainly learned his lesson as he's now marketed his way into being perceived as a man who deserves the job of president. Now, I'm not going to get into that. We could talk at length about the different perceptions that people have, whether it's about Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump or Gary Johnson or all these different people who are running for president. It all comes down to, again, marketing according to Ries and Trout. So I encourage you guys to go check it out if you're into marketing at all. There's some good stuff in here. There's some not so good stuff, but the book has been recommended to me by people like Tim Ferriss and Casey Neistat and Ryan Holiday, and these people that I respect that have results in marketing and branding and that sort of thing. They've recommended this book very, very highly. So I encourage you at least to go check it out. I'm not 100% convinced that I'm going to implement everything out of there because the predictions that they've made haven't necessarily come true, and I disagree with some of their worldview stuff. But I encourage you guys to read it with an open mind and see what you can pull out of it from the 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, again, by Al Ries and Jack Trout. Catch you next week for episode, I think, 28. I will do The Inevitables by Kevin Kelly.